era where the impossible is possible. America as a nation will not take no as an answer. We solve every problem. You, my friends, are part of a fight. You may not even know what that fight is. It is the fight for immortality. I use the term immortality in its most vague sense. We as humans are afraid of death. The majority of you said in the survey that you were afraid of death, though that is one of the hardest things to admit to ourselves. We are afraid of the unknown. Look at the doctors, the researchers, and the historians, constantly at odds with our destiny, constantly trying to survive. We now fight cancer with radioactive markers and eradicate diseases once thought to be incurable. We refuse to give up, constantly pushing our limits, surviving just a little longer, just a little further than the generation before us. And this is where I will begin, with a man known too well for his surgical ingenuity and creativity, Dr. Robert Koffler Jarvik. Is he helpful or hurtful? The tale of one man, a dream, and many tragedies. It's the Jarvik artificial heart. Dr. Jarvik is the creator of the Jarvik heart. This is a pneumatic, pressured artificial heart. According to the Stedman's Medical Dictionary, an artificial heart is a mechanical pump used to replace the function of a damaged heart, either temporarily or as a permanent prosthesis. In May of 1988, the New York Times explained the idea of an artificial heart as the Dracula of medical technology. The editorialist went on to say that the federal project to create an implantable artificial heart is dead. The first recipient of the Jarvik artificial heart was Barney Clark. This occurred in 1982. He lived a painful 112 days, suffered convulsions, cognitive deterioration, and kidney failure. He died tethered to a machine in a hospital, the machine that kept him alive, the Jarvik 7. This sent an uproar through the community, the FDA, and the public. It wasn't worth it. Stop the fight. Stop and move on. William Schroeder was one of the fortunate people that lasted 620 days with the Jarvik heart. He actually had what we would be considered a satisfactory life for that time. But the damage was done to the dream. Forever it would be gone. The FDA withdrew its permission that year to continue the manufacturing of the Jarvik 7. But no, it was still alive. William Schroeder, the longest-lived Jarvik 7 recipient, died of a stroke. Where the Jarvik 7 had failed, the new scientists and researchers would continue. They would succeed. William Schroeder died of a stroke. Fragments of blood that stick to the mechanical pump of the Jarvik 7 caused a clot and then a stroke. This happens along the connections to the aorta and the pulmonary artery. The sutures were causing germs to form there and blood clots from white blood cells. Blood flow was also an issue with the Jarvik 7. Too fast, pieces of blood would stick and break off, and then become unusable to the body. Too slow, and a clot would form. The pile-up would then cause a stroke. The resolution, the Jarvik 7 had nicks and gullies, where the AviCore, its predecessor, was made of smooth and flexible plastic, thus no clotting. The harsh and jarring mechanical pump was replaced with a smooth electrical stimulation of blood flow. This allowed movement and allowed the patients to go home. By carrying a small electronic device, they could continue a normal and satisfactory life. The patients were finally free. So the trials began on 14 very ill patients that were on their deathbed. Their life expectancy was quadrupled for that time, though they all unfortunately died in the end. Success was finally gained when Tom Kirsterson lived for 17 months and actually lived the last 9 months at his home. They still fought many infections, from the tubing placed through the patient's chest to the AviCore and to the Jarvik 7. But finally the AviCore was perfected and became completely internal by the advent of miniaturization of electronics and lithium-ion batteries. It became an actual alternative to death. Ventricular assisted devices, or VADs, are also an option and considered much safer than the ABICOR. But the truth is that they will not last forever, and if you are seriously ill, you will later have to depend on an ABICOR. Why not perfect it now? Sooner than later, then we can skip the middleman. It was definitely worth the risk for Tom Kirsterson when his 17-month reprieve meant that he got to witness the birth of his great-granddaughter, Ellen. These are my references. Thank you.